Hi, babies. Mwah. So, today we're going to launch the series on shadow work. So, we're going to be talking about what is shadow work for me and my belief systems and structures, what's incorporated in that, where do you start in shadow work, and then I'm going to give you some quick exercises to start that journey. I am going to be doing a series, so make sure that you subscribe, you like the video, give me a little comment, and set up that notification bell, okay? All right, so we're going to jump in. So, what is shadow work? Okay, so what is shadow work for me? Shadow work for me is a combination of all things. It's like this big umbrella where you're learning and getting to know your shadow side, which is all the parts that you like to hide from yourself. That over the years, your ego, based on what society did to you or showed you or your trauma, your ego decided that part of you had to be pushed away in order to protect you. Okay, so underneath the envelope of shadow work or the umbrella of shadow work, we're going to work on broken ego. We're going to work on emotional blocks, inner child work, and energy work. Because all of those things are technically under the umbrella of shadow work for me. Some practitioners may tell you that that's not true, and that's their belief system. And I'm a firm believer of if that's not your belief system, awesome, do you? But in these streets, all of it is incorporated under the umbrella of shadow work. Okay, so now that we know what shadow work is, where the fuck do you begin? Well, here's the thing. I think the best way to start your shadow work, because what a broken ego does is it takes you and separates you from your humanity. What is your humanity? Like your emotions, how you feel, being present in the moment, understanding the why behind everything you do. Okay, so if that's the case, then shadow work is taking this and bringing it back together, so it's like married and accepted, right? Because although we never really separate. There's puppet strings here, and then our shadow is just puppeting us, right? So an example would be like somebody pisses you off, and now or you feel disrespected on something. It's not that you're not disrespected, but you're triggered in your reaction. So your reaction is based on something from your past or something you were taught as a child, right? So it's not your authentic reaction. I'm not a believer that once you do this work, disrespect doesn't cause a reaction. What I believe is the response warrants the essentially what happens to you. So if somebody comes at you on a scale of 1 to 10 at a 2, you will respond with a 2. Unless you're like me and you kind of want to teach lessons that you don't need to come at me no more, you may throw them at a 5. Uh, but okay, so back to shadow work and where do you start? So how do you get present? Well, what I thought was a great um, exercise for me is a lot of times when they tell you to do shadow work, they try to tell you to do like journal prompts, right? But journal prompts are hard because you're used to detaching from a situation. So if somebody gives you a journal prompt, you're thinking about the sentences you want to form. You want it to sound good. You're trying to write something that's cohesive, right? But feelings aren't cohesive. That's not how it works. There's ebbs, there's flows. It's a roller coaster, right? So at the end of the day, I really would like for you to start out with just taking a piece of paper and writing a list of all of the emotions that you felt throughout the year or throughout the day. And the reason why you do that is because you really want to reconnect with the idea that you are a complex, complicated human being, that you cannot be fit in a box. You're not an angry person. You're not a happy-go-lucky person. You're not a sad person. You are a person, and that person has ebbs and flows literally in 24 hours. So how do you connect with that side of humanity? Well, you create a list. You're going to go through your mind. Okay, well, on the way to work, there was a lot of traffic and some asshole cut me off. So I was frustrated. Excuse me. And then I got to work, and this co-worker told me a funny joke when I first got there, and it made me laugh. So I felt joy and humor, right? Okay. And then I got called into my boss's office, and they were talking about some bullshit project that they don't pay me enough to do. So I was angry. I was frustrated. I felt silenced because I didn't say anything in the meeting because I need this job. I felt powerless, right? So you're gonna walk out, and I got 4 things on my to-do list at work done, so I felt accomplished, right? You're literally just making a list of all of the feelings you felt. You got home and you ate dinner and it tasted real good. Somebody put their whole foot in that. Okay, so you had that experience of like, man, I was really satisfied, right? So you're going to list those things. Do that for like a straight week or 2. And again, nobody's saying you have to do it every day. We have to release guilt and shame. That's the second part of shadow work. Releasing guilt and shame. You need to release it, right? Because guilt and shame are man-made. So if you only do it 3 days a week, I don't want you feeling guilty that you didn't do it 7. You did it 3 more days than you did last week. And if you didn't do it no days, then you had a really hard week, and next week's okay. So I really want to release, give yourself the grace to exist in the human experience that's hard. Especially within the parameters that you're not meant to be human, right? So it's okay. So after you do that, right? So you got your 2 weeks of that. Then what I'd like to see you do is literally like 10 seconds of heart chakra meditations. And the reason why I say feel the vibrations of the heart chakra meditations, you can find a plethora of them on YouTube. Do that. I always tell people to start with their heart chakra, because people always say, oh, start with your root because it grounds you. But so like, here's the thing. If you have all these emotions banging around inside of you, right? That's energy, right? And then you take a stake and you nail it into the ground with a chain, right? You're literally like going all around, but you're grounded, right? Because most of the reasons why we feel chaotic, erratic, tired, fatigued, all that's emotions. So if you start with heart chakra, and the more uncomfortable you feel about it, like I literally had a client one time tell me, I can't do those meditations you tell me to because they give me a headache, because I'm so uncomfortable, because they had been living in such a state of chaos for so long that the idea of aligning, her body was physically fighting it. So literally at that point, it was like no more than 10 seconds. You can't do no more than 10 seconds. And now she literally meditates regularly and is fine. The music doesn't give her headaches. Like she really, it helps her center and ground and open. It's dope. Okay. So start with heart chakra meditations and do them when you can, if you can. It's not really a big deal. Give yourself the grace. Now, the third thing that I think is really good, if you work on cutting guilt and shame out, this is technically the fourth thing. But the third/fourth thing that you could do in your shadow work that'll really fucking help is what I like to call bridge affirmations. So when you feel like shit, or when you've been told that you're less than or to be selfless your whole life, you can't walk around necessarily giving yourself I am beautiful affirmations, because they don't feel right. It feels funky. So I tell people, do a bridge affirmation. It helps you align with beauty, or align with your wisdom, or align with your confidence. And how do you do that? So if you're uncomfortable when you say, I am a goddess in the mirror, if you can't do that without feeling a little weird, then what you want to do is pick something that makes you feel beautiful. So like, let's say you have a good hair day, or even there's a pair of earrings that you really like, or your favorite hoodie, get your shape going, right? Whatever that is, focus on that first. So you're going to write 5 times, I look really good in that blue North Face hoodie. Or those gold hoops really made me feel pretty, right? Write that 5 times, because again, it's about channeling the energy and aligning with the energy of feeling pretty, right? And if you're this far away on the spectrum of knowing you're pretty, Writing I am pretty 16 times is just going to make you feel uncomfortable, and then you're going to get in the mindset that if affirmations don't work, and then you're going to get some fucking guru telling you, well, you didn't do them right. That's not true. So the last thing I want to say about shadow work is you have to do what's best for you at the pace that's best for you. Shadow work is a spiral. Healing is a spiral. It's not linear. There's no getting over anything. You're not going to start working on healing and then at the end, it won't affect you. You won't think about it and it doesn't bother you anymore. Shadow work is about accepting and getting to a space where you understand that things that have happened to you have changed you. They just have. And accepting that you're no longer the person you were before those things happened. Whether that be a marriage with abuse, or being raised by somebody who abused you, or being in a toxic workplace, or being used by a friend. Whatever those things are, you are not the person that you were before that, and trying to get back to that person is actually what hurts you. Because you're not here to get back to that person. That person's gone. She doesn't exist. He doesn't exist. You want to be you, whole you, with all of the things that come from the shadow. And you're going to shine like the sun. Now, I do offer a couple of things. I offer a program called Spiritual Excavation. What that program is it's a 2-hour intensive where you sit with me and we peel back all these layers. And you're going to get assignments and bridge affirmations, and you're going to get a spiritual bath, and I'm going to do energy work on you. It's a really intense thing. I do not suggest that for anybody who literally isn't ready for your life to blow up. So if you like your job, or you're not ready to leave your job, or you like your marriage, or like your friends, if you like those things and you're like, I want to feel better, but I'm not ready to let those things go, you do not want my spiritual excavation. Because what that is an intensive session where I work with your ancestors and your energy to essentially start your dark night of the soul if you haven't started it yet, and crack you the fuck open and get you where do you need to be. And it's going to cause an upheaval of energy and an upheaval in your life, so that when the dust settles, you're on the path. Now, if that sounds scary to you, that's okay. That you have to be in a certain space for that to work for you and that to be what you want. What I also offer are my channeled readings, where I work with oracle decks. I work with your ancestors. I sit down with you, and what I do is I hold your hand through sessions, right? So this is where the scary work can be handled in sessions. So like this may be astrologically the season where you're going to be working on friendships. You're going to do a channel session with me, and you and I are going to really dive into what's triggering you, what patterns you have, and it's going to be me holding hands with you through this scary time. Those sessions are shorter, they're more frequent, but they're really about you having the love and authentic support that you need to get to these levels. So I offer both of those things. The link is in the bio. I'm going to continue to be doing this series on shadow work. So check out, be on the lookout for my second video. It's going to dive a little deeper into the next level. We're going to be talking about inner child healing. If there are topics, spiritual topics that you guys want to talk about, please hit me up in the comments. Let me know. I got you. I will be doing videos on ancestors versus the dead, and why it's not safe in this space to be necessarily connecting with ancestors, because you don't know what ancestors are there for your greatest good, and what ancestors are like, fuck this person, I definitely want to fuck their life over more. Because believe it or not, bloodline ancestors that haven't crossed over definitely are those people. So just know I love you and I'm here. And if you have any questions, reach out to your girl. All right. And I will see you at the next time. Mwah.